I'd be more confident placing the captaincy on him than any given week.
The Premier League is back. And with that comes Fantasy Premier League and Fantasy Draft. Now, I haven't decided yet whether I will go on to play Fantasy Draft, but in today's video, we will be making my first draft, and by that I mean my first kind of get together and selection of my FPL team. It's very much early days, nothing is locked in, but after launching the game, after making my account for the new season, I thought I'd show you what I've kind of had drawn up first of all, and let me know if you've got any ideas and you want to contribute, because I'd be open for any suggestions, but I'll just get my thoughts out there and show you what I've got right now with the fixtures locked in and with the teams looking very good, but obviously a lot of injuries still could be coming with the Euros still going on and all that lovely stuff. So yeah, make sure you go and smash a like on the video, comment down below what your thoughts on FPL are, and are there any essential players that you should have in your first few drafts of this game. And yeah, it should be a really, really fun one. So the season starts here, people. This is my first draft, and I'll try and do as much graphics as I can possible. I do have limited time, but I will try and do that for you. So here we go. To start off with, let me just tell you that the Fantasy Premier League game is looking pretty nice. I like their collection of players that they usually put on the little icon there. That's nice. And of course, as usual, as most seasons are the case, we have got 100 million to work with for 15 players. Now, 15 players consists of 2 goalkeepers and then 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 3 forwards. And as you can see there, Reguilon, Mount and Adams, just some examples of players you could bring in. You can of course join your own leagues, you can join global leagues, but you can also join your own mini leagues, whether they be head-to-head, where you score a certain amount of points and you get drawn up against another FPL manager, and if they get less points or more points than you, then you lose or win in that game week, and therefore 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw each for the teams, and if you lose that head-to-head week, then you would get no points. So you can have a league that it's like that, or you can have what they're calling a invitational league and cup. And they seem to have introduced a new part of the game called a cup, where you can set up your own cup and basically compete, which is really exciting. So yeah, if you want more information on that, go check out fantasy.premierleague.com and premierleague.com, where they've got lots of stuff on the new changes to the game, Fantasy Premier League. But yes, we could do a public league or a private league, but equally we can do head-to-head, or we can do classic, which is just normal scoring, and it's about the total points you score that puts you where you are in the table. But talking of leagues, we will definitely set up a FPL The Hornet, or FPL Yellow Army, I should say, league for the new season. So any subscribers to FPL Yellow Army, then go feel free to join the link and join the league using a code that I will set up at some point in the future. Maybe the next video we will let you know what the code is for that, and we can get involved, and that will be really good fun. But as I mentioned, we're starting off with our first draft. I haven't really tinkered with it too much. I've looked at it and I've been pretty happy with the way I've kind of selected my players. So you just got to not overthink it at this point. It's still not the end of June, and it's still very, very early days, with the deadline being on the 13th of August. So you got a lot of time to tinker, but this is my first thoughts. And the FPL site there saying that Bruno Fernandes, despite his high price of 12 million, is still a player who is getting a lot of attention. Well, have I got Bruno Fernandes in my team? We shall find out, won't we? So here we go then. Let's see what my team is looking like. So first of all, my team name is What's the Matter with You? I think that's pretty class because, of course, there is a current player for Aston Villa in the Premier League called Mbwana Samata, and I just want to make sure you're all right during these unprecedented times. What's the matter with you? Are you okay? Are you going to be fine? And also, it's a dig at my future FPL players in this team because I'm telling them, what's the matter with you? Why are you not getting FPL points? That's the idea behind it. But yeah, my Game Week 1 team, first draft, let's get into it. And here's the first player in that draft. It is Robert Sanchez. Now, the reason for this is very simple. Amazing fixtures for the Spanish goalkeeper, and Burnley away is what you love to see. Brighton's games are unbelievable, and Robert Sanchez ended the last season so well for the Seagulls, getting clean sheets against the likes of Liverpool, Tottenham, and many more. So he is a great budget option at 4.5 million. And as I mentioned, Brighton's fixtures are actually a little bit too good. Let's have a little look at them. Robert Sanchez, what a player. 101 points last season, and that's despite not starting the season in goal due to Matt Ryan's time at Brighton. But then he, of course, left and went off in a bit of a strop to Arsenal. So last season, he actually had a pretty good campaign. I'll try not to expose the rest of my team by doing this. He scored 101 points from 2,430 minutes played. Not bad at all. And as you mentioned before, 4.5 million price is absolutely lovely. So he has to be my starting goalkeeper with these fixtures especially. We've got Burnley, Watford, Everton, Brentford and Leicester in the first 5, which is pretty solid there. And, Brighton actually were pretty good last season for clean sheets. As you can see here, just towards the end of the season, they have a very good run as well. So, yeah, it just seems a right move to get Robert Sanchez as my goalkeeper. Moving on swiftly, we've got the first defender in my team, and that is Trent AlexanderArnold. It simply had to be done. He is a very good player for FPL terms because he's so attacking. And all right, he didn't have his best of seasons last time, but he ended it so well, and it's such a gutting blow to see him not at the Euros, but he will definitely get back fit in time for the start of the Premier League season. And Trent AlexanderArnold, he's on set pieces, he's on free kicks, he's got a great eye for goal, and guess who he faces next? Norwich City. So that is a great opening game for the red Trent AlexanderArnold player, and he just is so good to start the season. So these green fixtures look really nice for Liverpool, and I think Trent is nearly essential at this point. 7.5 million, I get it's a very hefty price, so if you can't afford him, fair play. But if you can, he is a great option to have. So yeah, it had to be done really against Norwich. He just looks like an absolutely fantastic option. And looking at last season as well, he scored his lowest so far when he's actually got a proper run in the side, which is a bit of a shock. But, as we mentioned, to still get 8 assists and 2 goals was amazing because he had a bad start and had a great finish. All right, let's move on to the next player in the team. And I get that we're kind of leaking it quite a lot here because we struggle to stay on one man each. But next is Tariq Lamptey, and this guy just looks like a really good option. Now, I'll admit, I was debating with myself whether to get him or Lewis Dunk to start off with because of those Brighton fixtures. It seems that Burnley do struggle for goals. Apart from Chris Wood, they do lack that creativity, and a Brighton double-up seems a very smart move. Tariq Lamptey obviously was very unlucky last season with injury, but before then he was getting assists week in, week out. He was really playing well for Brighton, and he's very attacking as a fullback. So it looks like a great option at 4.5 million. It seems an absolute no-brainer to get Tariq Lamptey in, and I thought about Dunk, as I mentioned, but he is a little bit more expensive, and you can say that Dunk probably gets more goals, but if this guy is going to play and get more assists, then he could be worth it for, a cheaper price. So, yeah, looking at last season, he scored 1 goal in the campaign, and I forget who that was against, to be fair, but he had a great season when he was fit. 3 assists as well in very minimal time. So this guy has got great fixtures, as we mentioned, with Robert Sanchez. It just seems very, very wise to bring him in, and hopefully he can be that budget defender who gets lots of points and just ticks over nicely. So yeah, Tariq Lamptey, what a player. All right, let's move on to the next one, and that is the third in defence, Luke Shaw. Now this guy, nearly just like Bruno Fernandes and maybe Dominic CalvertLewin, I think is essential, because look at this guy. His stats were absolutely brilliant last season. He got so many bonus points, 124 last season, and a nice little goal up at Man City. Loads of assists, got so much attacking XG, which means expected goals, but also expected assists. So he is a very interesting threat in that Manchester United side, and it's amazing how under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer he has transformed as a player. Under Jose Mourinho, he was barely playing. He was getting about 1 goal every 100 games or something crazy like that. But this kind of time in his career, he's had a very attacking change to his play, and he's just performing week in, week out. He's nailed to play on when he's fit, and look at that price, 5.5 million for a player who had a fantastic season last time. So to get a player under 6 million, and Luke Shaw is a really good option to have. In terms of fixtures, just quickly, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag, but to start the season, certainly very good. Leeds, Southampton and Wolves. I think Man United can have a pretty good season, to be fair. They were pretty impressive last season, but they just didn't have enough to really mount much of a title challenge. But I think with the squad rebuilding again this year, they can really do that, and Luke Shaw could be at the forefront of it in terms of his defensive work. So hopefully some bonus points in there for Luke Shaw in some of these better fixtures, but obviously there's a big group of red teams which will be really tough to play against. But as we saw with Manchester United last season, unbeaten away from home, and they often got a lot of 0-0 draws with big teams, so that might not even be too much of a problem. Right, now we'll move on to the midfield in this 3-4-3 formation, and the first midfielder on our list is Ismael Salah. What a player. From the Golden Boys, from Watford. Ismael Salah is a great baller for FPL purposes. I remember I had him at the end of the restart in 1920, and he got me points after points after points. Unfortunately, we didn't have him in that brace he scored against Liverpool, but we did have him, I think, after that. We put him in, I think it was the second game of Project Restart, and I'm pretty sure that was against Burnley. And basically, yeah, it was not ideal because he didn't score all the time, but he did score, the odd point here and there, and he got a lovely little assist on the final day versus Arsenal. But with a full season, in terms of another full season, obviously he was fantastic for us in the Championship last season. But in the Premier League, Salah has shown he can really do it, and I think with Watford's fixtures, it looks a great shout. Salah is only 6 million, which I was a bit surprised by. I thought it'd be 6.5, but if you look at the fixtures, Aston Villa and Brighton, nice start for Ismael Salah, and Wolves, Norwich, Newcastle. And, the main thing about Ismael Salah is he's such a big part of the way we play. So, if goals are going to come for Watford, which I hope they will, they're going to come through him, whether that's assists or, goals, running down and taking on the wing-backs and trying to get crosses in, or equally taking on players and scoring goals. He's a brilliant, brilliant player, and it looks like we're going to hold on to him. So it would be absolutely criminal for me as a Watford fan to not have him in my team, in my opinion. So Aston Villa at home, let's hope he can do something there if we do go on to keep him. The next midfielder that I've got to talk about, though, is a little bit of Mohamed Salah. Now, Mohamed Salah has got a little bit of doubt around him. I know that it probably won't be a problem, but there's talk about how he might want to go to the Olympics for representing Egypt, and if that's the case, then it's fine. We've got options in this price bracket, but 12.5 million, it seems costly, but with Mohamed Salah, it is always worth it. Even last season, he didn't have one of his best seasons, but yet he still was good enough to get another price rise, good enough to nearly win the Golden Boot behind Harry Kane, and he is just an FPL essential. Every season he delivers. Look at this since he came into the Premier League in 2017, right? 2017-18, he got an amazing 32 goals in his first season, 12 assists, then 22 goals, 12 assists, 19 goals, 10 assists, and 22 goals, 6 assists. So it was his worst season for assists last time. Joint best or joint second best for goals. But this guy is brilliant. And look at Liverpool's fixtures, right? He got amazing 231 points last season. But can he get even more than that? Because he's got Norwich, Burnley, Leeds, Crystal Palace and Brentford to start the season. That is beautiful. So Mohamed Salah looks like a great option and a good option for the captaincy in game week 1. So he had to come in for me in this first draft. And then the next player we've got on our list is Emile Smith-Rowe. Little bit of a differential, I think. A lot of people are going to go for him because he's a cheapie, but I think not many people are going to go for it. Back off. Back off. I'm not trying to back off. Relax. I'm not trying to be confrontful, if that's a word. But anyway, you know what I mean. The idea is I'm not trying to be saying that this is too differential because people will have him, but the way that the season ended last season was pretty poor for Arsenal to not get any form of Europe. So then I think that will put off a lot of people from Arsenal players, and fair enough, they won't be a perfect team to invest in. But this guy just ticks along with points. He's very, very good. He had a great end to the season, lovely goal against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And he didn't score enough goals really for his quality, but he got a lot of assists. And I think he's going to keep doing that, Emile Smith-Rowe. At 5.5 million, he could just tick along nicely. And the first game is against Brentford, so it looks like a really good start for him. All right, yeah, the fixtures after that aren't ideal, but he can just be a player that I put on my bench. He's that kind of budget option that doesn't have to play every week, but when he does, he is usually quite effective. So it seems like a good shout, Emile Smith-Rowe, and hopefully he can build on last season where he got 7 goals and assists combined. So yeah, it is really the sky is the limit for Emile Smith-Rowe. Such a young player, but an exciting player, that's for sure. Right, the next midfielder in this 3-4-3 formation is Bruno Fernandes. You knew it was going to come. It had to be done. And Bruno Fernandes, just as it stands, is the captain. Right? The reason for that, I'll tell you. Because Bruno Fernandes is the top scorer from last season. He is going to do bits once again. He is just such an important part of that Manchester United team. He's a 100% guaranteed starter, 244 points last season. 12 million is quite a lot, but it's worth it because Bruno Fernandes just has that little creative spark every week. And look at that current ownership. 42.2% of the game have already gone and got him. So yeah, he's going to be highly owned. If you don't own him and he gets lots of points like he often does, whether that's through penalties or assists or goals, then you're going to be in trouble. So he is a very, very favourable player to have in this game. And in terms of off the back of last season, the previous season, he only came in at the end, but he still got 16 goals and assists combined. But he really went up a gear this season when he had a full season. So just imagine what he can do next season. Now, fixtures-wise, they're quite good for Manchester United. Certainly the first 3, Wolves and I guess Newcastle as well. So I think that these are teams that can leak goals, but then it does kind of turn a bit sour game week 7 or game week 9, or a little bit above that, I guess, because Watford play and then Chelsea. But basically, Manchester United can play and beat anyone. We saw that with how impressive they were last season. But Bruno Fernandes, I think, is a great shout for that midfield spot. Okay, we're getting to the juicy bit now. Let's look at the target men, the front line for my team. And the first forward is Ivan Toney. The new boy is in the team. That's right. It has to be done because he had an absolutely sensational championship season. He signs from Peterborough for a first season. And what does he do? He goes and breaks the record for an individual player scoring points in a championship season. 32 goals. Yeah, you heard that right. 32 goals. And it might have even been 33 because he scored in the final as well in the playoff. So it was unbelievable from Ivan Toney. What a campaign. And I'm amazed that no one snapped him up. I guess it would have been easier for that to have happened if Brentford hadn't gone up. But he is certainly a player who is catching a lot of people's eye. He just looks like a great option at 6.5. The only problem is, obviously, he's an unknown entity. He's an unknown FPL option. And, no player that's never kicked a football in the Premier League is essential. So I think Ivan Toney's a very interesting one. We hope that he'll go well, but we just don't know how Brentford will get on. And it's not the best of fixtures to start. But if you look at some other options at that 6.5 price bracket, there aren't a lot of choices. So he looks like a great option and could be the next Patrick Bamford at that kind of promoted team and a little bit under the radar. All right, Arsenal's not ideal, but then Crystal Palace, Villa, Brighton, Wolves. These are all kind of very solid and, not bad fixtures. The turn for the worst is game week 6 and game week 9. But then he's got nice fixtures again, bad fixtures again, nice fixtures. So it's kind of up and down with Toney. But if he kicks off well and he, starts the ground running, then he could just be a player you play in the tough games, because Brentford are certainly going to go for it in this season. And we struggled to, hide our team there, but we'll go through it anyway. Next forward we've got is Ollie Watkins. Now, this guy, it's no word of a lie. He was an absolute legend for me last season. He just ticked along so nicely. He gets assists every week or a goal every week. He just never disappoints. And actually, he's so good to play in the big games because he can score against anyone. Yeah, all right, the red card against Man United wasn't ideal, but that was just one moment in a fantastic season for Ollie Watkins. I mean, a hat-trick against Liverpool, that's the kind of thing you dream about. And he has certainly got the ability to improve on that season. And on 14 goals from last season, 9 assists, I feel like he can go even better this time. And with Buendia behind him, Jack Grealish, from Aston Villa point of view, we'll hope that he can have a bit more of a consistent season without injuries. But will Jack Grealish move on to Man City? That is the question. But I still feel like Watkins, his supply line is not diminished. He's certainly got a lot of players behind him that can provide him the ball. And, Villa's fixtures are quite nice to start off with. All right, Watford, promoted team, fair enough. Newcastle and Brentford. It is a bit bad, game week 4 to game week 6 and 7. But with Villa, you could always just switch out with a wild card, or you could just kind of, with Watkins especially, just hold him through the bad fixtures and wait till the good ones come, because he actually does do quite well in the bad fixtures. So he looks like a great option at 7.5, Ollie Watkins. And I do admit it's against Watford, the first game, which is not ideal. I don't like to back against my own team, but Watkins last season was very, very good. And, I think we were lucky to not be up against him. So it will be a tough test to keep him quiet on the opening day. And finally, we have our first man in the 11, and that is a forward. It is Dominic CalvertLewin. What a campaign he had. He was absolutely sensational last season, and I made my first ever video of FPL on the Roberto the Hornet channel, basically complaining about this man because he was just getting points when I didn't own him. And I thought, oh well, I'll give in to it. And I brought him in game week 4, and he scored right away against Brighton. He's such a legend. So this guy just looks like a great option to have with those fixtures for Everton. And I will show them in a bit, but they are fantastic. They're even better than teams like Brighton and Aston Villa. So this guy looks very, very good. He will have confidence off the back of an England call-up for the Euros. And, he started the season so well last season, so why can't he do it again? 165 points last time. Fantastic stuff. 16 goals last season was his best scoring season. 6 assists. And maybe he can even get to 20 goals if the right man comes in for that Everton manager. Maybe it looks like it will be Rafa Benitez, but they need that providing of chances for Calvert-Lewin. And there certainly are a few Everton players like James Rodriguez, like Luca Digne, that can do just that. So I'm feeling confident about Calvert-Lewin. Look at the fixtures. Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Burnley, Villa. That is a lovely, lovely start with Norwich in there as well. Calvert-Lewin doesn't have a tough fixture till game week 7. And even then, when they do have tough fixtures, Everton, they're kind of in small bunches. So you're not going to have a period where you want to sell him all the way together and you don't want to get him back for a while. It looks like a really sustainable and decent option to have Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the team. So that is the 11 done. Let's just quickly touch on the bench then, shall we, people? We've got Benny Boy Foster. Benny Boy Foster, the cycling GK, it has to be done because he's 4 million. That is fantastic for a player who might actually play some of the games. And I think Backman is first choice. But, he makes saves when he does play, Ben Foster. He wants to, enhance his performance and show his performance off on the Cycling GK YouTube channel. But no, on a serious note, I think he's a good option for such a low price. And actually, Watford's fixtures are quite good to start the season, at least. Then, looking at previous seasons, he hasn't got too many points, but he does get a lot of save points. He's actually the goalkeeper with something like the most saves in Premier League history. So that equals bonus points, and that equals a nice little tally of points there. So looking at the fixtures for this 4 million bargain of a goalkeeper, Villa, Brighton and Wolves, Norwich and Newcastle. That is pretty nice. So if Foster does play, which he probably won't, but if he does, then that's clean sheets potential. And, later on in the season, I can start Ben Foster in games that have a better fixture than that of Robert Sanchez. But Foster does give an option. He's maybe going to play, maybe not, but most likely a great option to just bench warm, basically. And that is my team in terms of the other goalkeeper. Just quickly on the rest of the bench, we've got Rafinha, Manchester United, first game, not ideal. So that is why he is on the bench, because we actually think Luke Shaw will get an assist in the first game and a clean sheet. Early predictions in there, but no, realistically, Rafinha is a fantastic option. For 6.5 million, it seems too good to turn down. Leeds had a fantastic season last time. They may lose Jack Harrison if he goes back to Man City, but I doubt it very much. They'll want him back again. And Rafinha just really was fantastic at times last season. It is frustrating sometimes when his points don't, come from good performances. He often is close to performances where he actually will get points, but he really was brilliant at points in the season. Very attacking and a fantastic first Premier League season. So, yeah, he's going to do a very good job, I'd imagine, from the start. 6 goals, 10 assists, very, very solid stuff. And with Rafinha and with Leeds, they're not going to hold back in any game. So he looks like a really nice option. The fixtures aren't ideal, but as we mentioned with Leeds, they do go for a lot of matches and they're very, very attacking. Man United, Everton, Burnley, and then Liverpool. All right, that's not all right. But then we've got West Ham, Watford, Southampton, Wolves, Norwich as well. So some nice fixtures there to kind of counterbalance the difficult fixtures. And I think Rafinha is a nice little option. So with his 133 points last season, let's hope for some more this campaign. But the last 2 players in the team on the bench, we've got Vladimir Soufal from West Ham United. We didn't own him last season, or at least for that long, I don't remember, because we had Aaron Cresswell instead. But amazingly, he's just 5 million this campaign, Vladimir Soufal. I thought it'd be a bit more expensive. Cresswell is 5.5, but I'll go with Soufal this time because he's just as attacking, and all right, he got less assists than Cresswell, but at 5 million, that looks like a great option. West Ham, of course, I will be factoring in the fact that they've got Europa League. So I looked at Vladimir Soufal, and actually he did play in his time at Slavia Prague in the Europa League, and he was able to kind of balance that minutes in both competitions. But looking at last season, 9 assists, what a great season, 128 points, very, very nice crosser of the ball. And West Ham fixtures are actually really good to start. Newcastle, Palace, Southampton, very, very solid. So West Ham will go for it this season. They'll try and, not make that last season just a one-season wonder. But for sure, I think Soufal has got a lot of attacking potential as a defender for only 5 million. And finally, last on our bench, we got Wesley Fofana. Now, a lot of people are jumping on this bandwagon, mainly because Leicester are a pretty solid defence to invest in. And I don't know how they've done it, but they priced Wesley Fofana at 4.5 million, which, like I mentioned in my previous video about Watford options, is actually just as much as some of the lower teams' defenders. So he's going to start. We feel like that's pretty much the case. And, all right, he might not have as much attacking threat, but Leicester do keep a lot of clean sheets. So it looks like a great option and a bit of a no-brainer, as like I said. 71 points last season. Hopefully he can get a few more attacking returns, but we're looking at the fixtures, really. We're not looking about goals. We're targeting the clean sheets potential. And with those points last season, all right, 1 assist might have been lucky, but looking at the fixtures, you can just rotate some Leicester defenders really nicely. And here's the budget option that everyone's turning to. Wolves, West Ham, Brighton and Burnley in the first 6 games. Very, very nice stuff indeed. So, Leicester have got nice fixtures, I think, to start the season. And he's not going to start the team right now because I think he, again, like Soufal, might be a little bit tired. And, maybe he won't get a goal or a clean sheet in that first game. But that is the team. That is the bench. And I think it's a very, very solid team. It's got a lot of depth to it, a lot of options, and we've actually got players playing in a lot of the games. Brentford v Arsenal, we've got 2. Manchester United, Leeds, we've got 3. Burnley, Brighton, 2 players. All right, Chelsea, Palace, no one. But who wants to have someone from, the Tuchel tombola? And plus, have you looked at Chelsea's fixtures? They are absolutely awful. And Palace, we wouldn't want anyone from there. They're pretty bad. Everton, Southampton, we've got CalvertLewin. We might have Digne, but it's a difficult one. With Everton, there's never a surety they'll keep a clean sheet. Leicester, Wolves, well, that's pretty nice because at the end of the day, we've got Fofana, but we don't have to. We can always bench him. Watford, Aston Villa, we've got Sarr, we've got Watkins, and we've also got Foster, who won't play. Norwich, Liverpool, we've got Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. But also with that Liverpool game, I'm tempted to get a bit of Diogo Jota, but I don't think we're going to in the end because he costs a little bit too much. And with a lot of the Liverpool players and Man City players, there's a bit of an issue of rotation, but we'll see. Newcastle, West Ham, we've got Vladimir Soufal, and then we've got no players from that Spurs game, mainly because, Salah is a better option right now than De Bruyne, but we could get De Bruyne, we could get Son even, but if he doesn't have Harry Kane, then he might struggle for, options and service. But Man City, if Kane goes to Man City, then maybe we just get him in regardless of the fixture. But it seems like that will be a tight game anyway, and two teams, tussling at the top of the table might not be too much points to get at the end of the day. So that is my team not locked in, definitely not. We've got a long way to go with this What's the Matter with You team. But I think it's shaping up pretty nicely. Fernandes captain at the minute, just because everyone will captain Salah if he plays. So I just thought, Fernandes, you've got to remember how good he is, even if he's not been playing perfectly in the Euros. But Calvert-Lewin as well, he was always capable of a big haul, an explosive haul, and Southampton are one of the leaky teams in the league. So there are a current total of 622,595 players in this game that have now registered their teams. But don't worry, there's plenty of time to go. That is my team kit as well. And we've joined a few nice little mini leagues, so that is nice. But we've got 100 million spent and sorted. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed. Smash a like on it and put your thoughts down below of my current first draft for the FPL game. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.